You've been through the stages of the beginning of the landscaping industry where it was really hard to get clients, and then to the point we're at now where you feel more comfortable and it's more of a grow mindset. Um, Kind of take me through with employees. What was that like at the start? How was it? How did you get employees at the very, very beginning when you don't have your name out? And just kind of take me through that.
Well, I think it's kind of the same thing like all businesses. We try to find employees that have experience. It's hard for us to find guys that are not experienced and don't know what they're doing, and we have to take the time to train them and stuff like that. So I started with looking on Craigslist, and then I started, where I got a lot of my information and how I grew a lot of my companies. Obviously, a lot of YouTube, talking to a lot of other landscaping companies that were successful, and kind of getting as much ideas. And everything that I did is I was always geared for growing, because I never wanted to have a small little landscaping company. It was always, figuring it out, trying to grow the company. So when I was, for instance, I think there was a guy on YouTube, and he kind of gave a recommendation how, like put up little flyers on stores, laundromats, somewhere where you can see your employees going very often, and somewhere where they have a billboard to put it up. So I started with that. I did a lot of Craigslist, but you have a lot of flaky interviews. You're already so busy, so you're taking your time throughout the day to try to get back to the shop, do an interview. They don't show up. I've had guys, where I'm sitting at the shop for hours on end, and they just keep on like, oh, I got in an accident. I'll be there. I'm gonna take an Uber over there, and it just like, you're desperate, but at the same time you're so desperate that you're willing to wait for them, because this could be the next candidate, and they might be going through something right now. And I went from making the worst hires in the world to the best hires in the world.
Were you able to find experienced guys right off the bat, or was it more of those knockoff, this company doesn't want this guy, so he comes to you next type situation?
Well, we were able to find experienced guys. I think that's kind of in the beginning where we had some experienced guys that helped us. But, when you get an experienced guy, they have their way of doing things. So, you have, a couple different crews, and every crew is installing something different than what the other crew is doing. So it's not consistent. So that was kind of the hard part, is like having experienced guys, but not having it be consistently like the way we want it done is the way we're going to do it in the company. It was kind of the way they were taught is the way they're doing it.
Mm-hmm. And was it more of a struggle to find construction guys right off the bat, or was it the maintenance guys? And how fast did you get into construction? Because I know we started with maintenance. How fast was that transition?
So in the beginning, I would say the first couple years we were just doing strictly maintenance and some cleanups and stuff like that. We do bark dusting and enhancement jobs, but later we started getting more into construction, and it was just impossible finding any construction guys. Like finding a guy, a skilled worker in the construction field was like almost impossible.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really, really hard for me to grow on the construction side, yet alone our name, Simple Lawns, doesn't really, shoot out like, hey, we're a install company, we're a design build company. Like, we had to kind of, build a reputation behind our name first before we can continue growing on the construction side.
Definitely. And something that's funny about our company too that I've noticed is a lot of our employees that's been here 4 or 5 years are either guys that came in with not a lot of experience and we built them to the position they're at now, or it's a guy we trust and their family coming in. Those are the type of guys that typically stay longer, is what I've noticed. So really funny with that. And kind of going into it, how are you able to retain those employees? Because I know that's a huge thing that every landscaping company has issues with. And I know we had large issues during the COVID time mostly.
Mm-hmm.
How do you keep those employees?
I started realizing, I always thought it was the employees that were like, hey, this employee sucks, he screwed us. This employee sucks, he screwed us. This employee's not treating us right, and it was always like, it's always their fault, not our fault. And so after some years and figuring out that, realistically, we were the issue. You know, the culture was the issue of the company. They had no vision for the company. And that's like something that I've been learning a lot the last couple of years is, you know, building culture, building a team, and also having a vision for the employees. Like, employees were coming here and they're like, you know, it's a dead end job.
Mhm.
I just going paycheck to paycheck until I can find somewhere else I can make more money, or I ask him for a raise and maybe he can give me more money.
Yeah.
But it was literally, it felt like me against the employees, and then I was not doing good financially, and it was just really hard because like the guys are always wanting more money, and I feel like the guys are screwing me, and the guys feel like I'm screwing them, and it was just like this whole like bad cycle where like, you know, we're like, you know what, we just need to turn the page and we need to just start building a culture here. And when we did that, like that really helped us a lot on, you know, bringing in guys that care about the company and staying with the company and like and wanting to continue growing in the company. And I think that helped a lot. And just like going back to your point is like a lot of the, you know, we kind of completely go in a different direction of how we're hiring employees. Is we're not looking for the skilled employees anymore. We're looking for the guys that we want to build with, because it's easier to train a guy with no experience than untrain somebody that already has their way of doing it, and then expecting them not to go back to their old ways of doing things and how we do things here, because there's a lot of guys that cut a lot of corners, and that's not the way we do things.
Yeah, and I definitely know that at the beginning, before you got some of your other management, one of the tough things that you struggled with, because you're a nicer guy, was finding that balance where when do you say you're doing this incorrectly and almost hurt their feelings, and when to be like, it's okay. Because I know it's something that when I came into the company that I've noticed right off the bat was the guys felt like they were in power, and they felt like, oh, if I think something, this is how it needs to be. And it kind of, that culture became the norm, and it took a while to get that back to normal with, hey, management, we're not a dictatorship, but we want to make sure, you know, we're the ones in charge making those decisions, because, you know, we're in the roles for that reason. How are you able to change that culture?
I think a big thing was I was always scared to like cause a like I'm trying to think of the word for it, but pretty much like cause an issue with employees.
Mm-hmm.
So like I would see things that bothered me, and I would not mention it, because like it would like be like, you know, oh crap, that really like that's annoying. I can't believe he's doing it, but I won't say anything about it. But it'll bother me,
Mm-hmm.
and then they'll do it again, and it'll be bothering me, and they'll do it again, it'll be bothering me, and then like it would go on for so long that the guys kind of got used to we just do what we want.
Yep.
And when I did tell them, hey, you can't do that, they would feel right away like they're getting defensive, because they're not used to me telling them not to do something.
Yeah.
And so what I noticed, it's not about being a jerk or being a dictator. It's about being consistent with it.
Yeah.
And being like, hey, right away when I see something, you have to say it. Be like, hey, you can't be doing this. Not, okay, I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to cause an issue.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be just consistent with it, because when the guys are consistently getting those, you know, you don't want to like micromanage them, but at the same time, you don't want them to walk all over you, and like you want to make sure that the guys have your respect and we have their respect, because we know they'll do the right thing.